Good morning. Good morning, all. So today, I'll be continuing with the quality assurance, what we were discussing in the last session, right? So we'll continue with that quality assurance, which is a very important tool in commodity markets, especially because, as I was telling you last time, most of the trade takes place on the screen-based platform, that is on the exchanges which are screen-based. So you don't know where the buyer is and what is the commodity is offering and all those things. It's based only on the writings, what he has done, and how he has placed the quote. Okay, based on that, you people are going for the transactions. So it becomes very important since we are not clearly aware of what is the quality of that particular commodity which is in process, for which I'm venturing into trading. So that I will not be aware of. But now a lot of things have changed. The concept of warehouses has revolutionized the system of trade also. So now if you want to take physical delivery of the commodities, then there are a lot of procedural matters which are involved. I'll come back to that when I talk about warehousing. So the quality standards, since it's standardized contracts which are happening in the market, even the exchanges also take a lot of interest, especially in selecting the commodities and the sellers. Okay, so they can't just allow anyone or everyone to go for trading just with their writing of the contracts and all those things. So even it is a responsibility of the exchanges also to and associations of exchanges also to see that the quality commodities are traded in the market. So it becomes very important. So that's how the recognition and the characteristics of the particular exchanges also requires not only from the compliances angle, but also from their own angle itself in order to get recognized as a good exchange. So that becomes the basic minimum qualities, so that they should offer trade in a very very transparent way. And apart from transparency, it is also very important that the commodities what they offer for trade also has that particular qualities. Okay, so that's a very important key point. Okay, when we are discussing about commodity market. So this particular topic, what we started from last week, right? So that covers the entire quality assurance, quality control, and all the aspects relating to quality and various standards which are there as per Indian standard and as per international standards, which will be considered when you are entering into a market as a seller, and when you want to just market your when you want to hedge your products. So both from the buyer and seller perspective, see, that's the basic objective of any exchanges. Okay, exchanges acts as a catalyst between the buyers and sellers. So it should protect the interest of both buyer as well as sellers. It's not for one party. They don't work only for buyers, or they don't work only for sellers, or they don't work for mainly for getting some commission or something like that. So they are the platforms which is created in order to ensure smooth and fair trade. So when I say smooth and fair trade, it involves all the aspects of the qualities of trade which you need to imbibe and try to facilitate those things to your stakeholders. So that becomes the responsibility of the market. Exchanges, not market. So exchanges. So in that line, we were discussing about a lot of various factors which are there in quality. So we'll continue with that. So I was discussing about the concept of quality. Okay, so the quality control, we discussed what is quality control. So quality control is some standards which is determined or which is arrived after looking into various considerations. So you need to ensure that particular minimum basic requirements, whatever has been told, okay, whatever has been agreed upon or whatever has been fixed is catered into when the final products comes out. So that is called as quality. So this involves a lot of procedural matters. So the seller needs to take care of all these points before he writes a contract for the buyer. And I think we discussed about quality assurance also. So again, quality assurance is something which is more of the perspective from the customers what we are looking into. So I think we compared the differences between quality management and quality assurance. So where quality management is only taking care of the basic requirement relating to the process, operations, delivery, and all those things. Okay, it's basically more of the management level activities what you do in order to ensure quality is maintained at each and every process level. But assurance is not that. Assurance talks from the consumer point of view. Okay, so what is in need of consumer? Am I able to deliver the consumer what he asked for? Or how best my product satisfies the consumer needs and wants? So I'm talking from the perspective of consumers. That is called as quality assurance. So quality assurance goes much beyond your quality management. So quality management is one aspect which covers the areas of the organization preparedness in order to ensure that each and every level they adhere to some set of guidelines and principles so that they manufacture or provide a service which is of a quality nature. But quality assurance is much wider in scope. It covers much larger areas. It thinks beyond the management thing. It goes to the customer. So the results, final results, what the organization should achieve, that is basically the meeting the needs and requirement of customers, right? So that is ensured when you talk about quality assurance. So it's a very important factor, and we discussed about benchmarking and all those things in that quality assurance. Okay, then we have something called as TQM, total quality management. I keep on repeating this word. Okay, so when we talk about quality assurance, quality management, we need to also talk about total quality management. Okay, it's a system of management which is the principle of every member of staff must be committed. So I explained with the various examples also in the class, and I told you about how significant in the last session when I was talking about strategic cost management, right? I told about TQM. So people might have studied in detail there. So it's a very strong tool, okay, which is used mainly in manufacturing industries, okay, where they ensure that the each and every level under which the production process is carried out. Okay, when you want to manufacture a product or provide a service, the entire activity will go into different stages or under different processes. Okay, so what this concept of TQM says is that ensure that you maintain quality at each level. Okay, so at each level of the movement of the activities. So you need to identify what is the starting point of this activity. Then you need to go to the termination point of the activities. Okay, so you need to know these two endpoints. What is the starting point? What is the end point? And who are the people who are working at this starting point and end point and in middle also. So starting and end points are 2 points. In middle, there are a lot of activities which you do. Identify people at each level of these activities and see that you give the proper instructions to them, proper job description and role description to them. So once they become familiar with their roles and responsibility, and make sure that you fix the quality there, so that each and every person who works in that particular organization understands what his role is, what his commitment is for the organization. So as soon as you start doing this, This will ensure you that you will be contributing in your individual capacity, okay, what you are supposed to do. So this is a very strong concept, but a very difficult concept also, okay, because it requires a lot of commitment from all levels of organization. Here, if you are following a top-down approach, then very difficult to adopt these TQM principles. This principle will be very useful if you are following the bottom-up approach. What is bottom-up approach? Bottom-up approach means the people who are involved in decision making is from the bottom level. So it's not the delegating the authority from top to bottom. It's bottom-up approach where you involve the lowest of the lowest category of the job or the activity which you are entrusting on some people, right? Even those people also come under quality. So you their views and their suggestions will be considered in decision making. That's very important. That means basically you are involving those people in decision making. So this is something which is very difficult in organization to practice, especially those companies which have been ruled from Western ideas. Because Western ideas doesn't believe in this bottom-up approach. They always focus on top-down approach. So where there is a limitation for the participation of the lower level management in decision making. So that is the first and fundamental thing which you need to understand. TQM works on the principle of taking ideas or getting suggestions from the bottom level, and that will be inculcated in your decision making process. So that is TQM. So TQM ensures that each one of them, if they understand their responsibility and role in the organization, and if they start working towards that responsibilities, and if they take accountability for whatever they're doing, then finally there is no question of the quality not being achieved. So if that particular job person was entrusted with that job does a quality work, whatever has been told to him and whatever the instructions given to him, accordingly if he performs his duty, then definitely the next level also will be encouraged, okay, in order to meet that particular standard what has been set to them. So if each and everyone understand their roles and responsibility in the organization, and if they start delivering to that roles and responsibility, finally the product which comes out will be a quality product. So there is no need for investment in quality department itself. So I think most of us know that big organizations have separate quality section, which will be headed by quality research experts and his team and all those people. So they are very qualified people and they will be charging per hour basis. So we might have studied in activity based costing. Okay. So when we were studying ABC there we came across some of the problems where they told quality, number of inspections they told. So number of inspection you charge. So for each inspection of sample size, what they do, right, they charge. So that's an unnecessary cost which you are bearing on your cost of production. Why do you need a quality department if everyone does a quality work? Why you want someone to monitor you and start checking the samples if you can deliver whatever is told to you? That's the ultimate objective. So the concept of TQM totally tries to eliminate the quality department itself from the organization. They say there is no need for quality department if you practice TQM. If each one, every person does a quality work, then there is no need for quality department as such. Why do you spend crores of rupees? Why do you invest so much on quality department? So that's the basic logic. Anyhow, these people have been given job roles. Anyhow, they have their roles and responsibility given. Then why do you want again quality department? If they are not performing their duty up to that quality standard, then better you take action on those guys, throw them out. Instead of that, why do you want that person to do a mistake, then go for inspection? At the inspection stage, you are checking and finding that this is a wrong product, it is getting rejected because of defectiveness in the product. manufacturing and all. See, why do you waste time? Why do you waste cost? The money is very important. Time is very important. And energy is a much big, very important resource in the organization. So if you are identifying that it is a mistake at the later part of the product, once it clears the different hurdles in the organization manufacturing process, then you are literally wasting time, wasting cost. Wasting time means wasting cost. And that cost is getting accumulated to your cost of production. So when cost of production goes up, then your margin comes down because it's a seller's market. It's a buyer's market, sorry. Buyer will decide the price. You can't decide the price. So whatever the loss is there, the loss needs to be sacrificed from your profit. That is what remains at the end of the day. So what we are saying here is, why don't you understand this concept of TQ? Why don't you do it? But it's a very challenging thing. So it requires a lot of commitment. So if you go by the mindset of I am the manager, I am the boss, I am the owner of this company, all these things, this TQM doesn't work. Okay, everyone should feel that we are working for an organization, whatever your role may be, or whatever the position you are occupying in the organization. So that is least important for me. Unless and until I'm working for an organization, we are all one. We are working for X company. That's it. You may be a manager, you may be a gatekeeper, whatever you are. See, that's different thing. When I say I'm working for X company, as a gatekeeper, I have my own responsibilities. The dignity of labor is there for me. And as a manager or a general manager, I have my own dignity. See, end of the day, your dignity should not be sacrificed. But at the same time, you are working for X company, and that interest, in the interest of X company, you need to work. That is where commitment comes into picture. So unless and until if I feel this, if I understand this logic, and if I start working for the company, right, then TQM becomes a very successful model. But it's a very big challenge. Okay, getting together people from different departments, from different mindsets, from different levels, okay, into one framework is a very challenging thing. But if you can do it, then it's a very successful model. Okay, that's about TQM. So let us now start thinking about some of the standards which have been suggested, quality standards. The first standard which I want to discuss with you is HACCP. HACCP. Okay, which means hazardous analysis and critical control points. Okay, I'll repeat again. Hazardous analysis and critical control points. It's called as HACCP. Okay, it's a certification which will be given, especially in terms of food and safety. Okay, so it's a preventive approach to food safety from biological, chemical, and physical hazards in production process that can be caused by the finished product to the unsafe and design measurement to reduce the risk to a safe level. See, whenever I want to take the position of a commodity in the market, right, if it is a food related products, I need to make sure that the product which is there in that particular trade should satisfy not only from the perspective of the good quality. So when I say quality, how do you measure that quality? So the measurement of the quality is at the time of usage and after usage. Okay, so whether I may be the direct consumer or I may be a trader who is buying your products and later on selling to wholesaler, retailer, or direct market or whatever it is, I'm not really bothered about that particular segment. As a buyer, I am more concerned with whether the product, like food products, which is coming in trade, does it satisfies the basic quality related things like biological things. Sorry, 1 second. 1 second. Biological things, chemical and physical hazards, and all those things. See, because there are chances that when the particular product is used, right, you may develop some skin allergy, or you may develop some functional, your body functional related ailments and all those things. So in order to make sure that the commodity, because that cannot be tested unless someone uses that. Physically you can see, okay, whether that particular commodity is in good shape or good condition, all those things. Physically you see. But what is the ingredient part? So unless and until someone certifies that, someone says that, okay, if you have taken this certification from this X for this processing and all those things, we don't have any issues. So who is certifying that? There are a lot of certifying agencies, okay, which you need to approach before you start your food industries. Food safety is a very important thing because you are taking this as an intake into your body. So what happens after taking that particular product is very difficult. Okay. So this happened with Maggi noodles also, right? It was a very big case where Maggi noodles was banned entire across India, as they found that the content of lead, whatever was mentioned on the Maggi packets, right, was different from what actually it contained in the product. So it was observed by someone in Uttar Pradesh, and later this message spread across India, and the Maggi was totally banned because it was not good for human consumption, especially kids. See, these things happen. So unless and until you get some certification sought from some reputed bodies, you will not be able to market your products in the exchange. So one such type of certification is HACCP, hazardous analysis and critical control points. Okay, so what are the hazardous analysis? As the name itself tells, what are the hazardous analysis? Analysis can be done on chemical used, or the biological things which is coming up in the product, or the physical characteristics of the product. See, these are the various frames of analysis what you can do. And apart from that, critical points. See, you cannot say that the particular content should be not there or something like that, unless and until if it is very much required. Or else you can say minimum intake of so much grams or so much milligrams of this may not be hazardous. So that is critical control point. So you define that if this is a case, if it is having so much content of this particular component in that particular product, then it is not hazardous. You can have that. That is called as critical control points. You need to make sure that it is well within that range. For example, if you go for a blood test and all those things, they will say, right, okay, your infection level, if it is within this range, okay. Or if your platelets is within this range, it is okay. See, that's how even in the products also they specify the range. That is called as critical control points. So if you exceed those critical control points, then your product may be rejected. Okay, so you will not be allowed to deal or enter into market with such type of products. You need to ensure that that minimum requirement, whatever is told, is what the product will be adhering to. It cannot cross those critical control points. Okay, so it should be well within those points. That's what it means. So this is about HACCP. I will repeat again: HACCP, hazardous analysis and critical control points. Okay, it's a again certification which will be issued by the competent authority. So this certification history goes back to 1957. Okay, this is from USA and USSR race for launch Sputnik. So at that point of time, they went for this. In 1960, food safety identified as a significant risk to the mission. So NASA and Pillsbury designed the HACCP system, implemented in Pillsbury Corporation to test the system effectiveness. HACCP was adopted for food safety. So this is the international standard which is adopted across the globe. The US Food and Drug Administration adopted USCCP, reduce food poisoning cases, to reduce food poisoning cases. Use of HACCP system spread in US and Europe. The need for global trade standard raised. WHO adopted HACCP, food poison increased standard. So in 1990, this was adopted by World Health Organization. It's a legal requirement of all EU countries implement HACCP laws. So today in 1990, they have taken a decision to make HACCP as a law in European Union. Okay. So if you ask what are the benefits of this HACCP, the first one is it saves business money in the long run. Second one, it avoids poisoning customers. Very important, avoids poisoning customers. Third one, it ensures food safety standards. It ensures you are compliant with the law. That's very important. So there should be something where you should be measured with. You cannot just sell whatever you manufacture or whatever you produce. Organize the process to produce safe foods. Organize the staff promoting teamwork and efficiency, and due diligence defense in court. So tomorrow, if there is a case filed against you, so if you are HACCP certified, then you can prove in the court of law that you have followed all the standards what has been adopted in the global. So like that, you can be, this can come as a defense in the court of law. Okay, so that's a very important, because tomorrow when you want to defend any case relating to that, someone goes to court, says that this person has not followed the quality, all those things, then the first important defense what you can establish in the court of law is we have been certified by this particular organization. We have a HACCP valid certificate. That's also important, because certification needs to be renewed on timely basis. So you cannot show some old certificates and claim for defense in the court of law. The valid certificate should be there. Valid certificate means it should not have time bar should not have taken place. So at the time of happening of the incident, the certificate should be valid. So that's very important. So in the court of law, this becomes a defense matter, wherein you can produce that certificate and say, we have followed all the guidelines and we have been certified under HACCP global certification. So that makes you strong, okay, in fighting your case. So that's one of the important benefit which is there. So let us now study what are the different types of standards which are there. So there are three basic important types of standards. One is object standard. The second one is documentary standard. And the third one is conceptual standards. So this standard, before going to the standards, we need to understand what is standardization is all about. So standardization is a process of fixing certain norms for the product. Okay, so you fix some norms. Norms are those things which needs to be followed, which needs to be adhered to. And this standardization varies from one manufacturer or producers to another manufacturer or producers who are manufacturing the same or similar type of products. So standardization is basically driven by various factors. So most common factors are, one is either your historical factors, because since you are there in the business for so many years, so you know in and out of the business what you're running. So based on that, standardization can be fixed. Or there may be industry standards, which the associations of industries might come across, or the environment under which the industry operates, there may be standards which may be formulated, and that should be adopted by all those industries which are coming under that particular network. So like this, okay, so standardization, there is nothing called as hard and fast rule that all the sectors or all the business entities which are doing such X type of good products, they need to follow these standards only. There is nothing like that. Okay, there is no hard rule saying that. all industries or all firms should follow same or similar standards. No, it is purely for the respective companies to decide what type of standards they need to enter into. Okay, so standardization is a process fixing certain norms for the products. Okay, these norms are established by customs or traditions or by certain authorities. So, as I told, customs or tradition, that is based on your experience, based on your history, or based on the society where you live. So, it's based on totally customs and traditions. Or even it may be by certain authorities. I told you there may be some association, bodies, corporates, authorities which are there, which will be pushing for to meet those standards. So it can be both, combinations of both. Okay, it involves it involves determination of basic characteristics of a product, on the basis of which products can be divided into various groups. It also means determining the standards of products to be produced with regard to size, color, form, weight, shape, and quality. Standards are model products which forms the basis of comparisons. So when you want to buy X product, you have different options. You have different companies which are manufacturing X. But why do you choose a particular company? So that may be because of a brand, maybe one of the things, but more than brand, you look into the standards. So you might have tried using all the products, but you may be happy and comfortable with only one product because it meets all the requirements. That's called as standards. Okay. Standards are model products which forms the basis of comparison. So that's how you try to compare the products by fixing the standards. Standardization is the application of standard to goods meant for marketing with a view to further subdivide them into several grades or classes. So standards are set, and if the standards needs to be marketed, then it is called as standardization. Okay, standardization is the continuation of your standard in order to meet the requirement of the market. Okay, is the application of standard of goods meant for marketing with a view to further subdividing them into several grades or classes. So standardization leads to grading and sorting and all those things what you do. Okay, grading, sorting, or other methods you use in order to or bifurcate the various products which are there in the market. So that is called as standardization. So there are three important tests which has been specified by International Standard Organization called as ISO. What are the three important tests? First one is reliability test. Second one is validity test, and third one is norms. So what is reliability? It refers to stability or consistency of measurement over time. So whenever I want to find whether the product is standardized product or not, so it should be subject to reliability at any point of time. Okay, so over a period of time, if I want to compare it, then it should show that stability or consistency of measurement. So if I'm following a steady process or consistency in my approach, then I will be in a position to get that reliability part. Then comes validity. It refers to a test ability to measure what it is supposed to measure. So that is called as validity. Okay, it's a test ability to measure what it is supposed to measure. So that's a very important point again. The next one is norms. It is the normal or average performance. See, when you are setting a norms are basically industry driven. Okay, so in that particular environment, in that particular geographical markets, what is the minimum requirement? It should satisfy. The test should satisfy. That's called as norms. So you need to meet that norms, whatever is there. So these are the three important tests, standardized tests, which are very important: reliability, validity, and norms. Okay, so these three important words Please keep it in mind. When you come across a question on standard test, you need to be in a position to answer that. So now let us study what are the procedures, standardization procedure involves. Okay, so basically what happens when I go for standardization, I need to follow a process and I should not deviate this process. Okay, this standard process, what we call it as, it should be a continuous flow which should happen, okay, within the organization over a period of time. So what are the steps which are there in standardization procedures? The first and foremost important step is, with the help of market research, sales statistics, etc., decide what to sell in future. See, many of the organization doesn't know about what their futuristic approach should be. So they don't do this market survey. That's the major fault today into business. I get a lot of people coming to me and asking, sir, I want to do a business. So my friend is doing this. Can I also do this? Is it a profitable business? See, this is where people lack little bit of knowledge about the business. So first and foremost thing, whenever you are venturing into the business, forget about the funding part. Forget about the investment part. Forget about all the other factors. First and foremost thing, how much knowledge you have about that product, that's very important. Whatever the line of business you want to do, or whatever the line of business activity you want to venture into, first and foremost thing, what you need to know is how much I know about that business. You cannot just rely upon someone. You cannot just rely upon your friend's business and do this business until and unless you have a thorough knowledge about that product. So you should know clearly, as a owner or as a main person who is trying to venture into business. First, you need to understand the market pulse. Okay. So you need to conduct a market research. So there are a lot of areas or a lot of modes, I can tell you, not areas, a lot of modes which are available today in order to do a market analysis. So a market analysis can be done directly by analyzing the markets, entering into the market or whatever it is. Okay, so market analysis involves studying only those areas where you want to venture a business. So if you want to do business in Bangalore urban area, then do a market study in only urban area. Don't do study of entire Karnataka or entire India. That's not required. So for me, since I'm venturing into business in India, Bangalore, urban area, that too. So focus only on urban area. Do some market research. Get basic idea about what types of products are already available and what are the different range of products which are available. What is the pricing of that product? Which are the big brands which are manufacturing said products? See, at least you should have some ideas, right? You need to do that market research. That's a very important thing. So steps in first standardization is about market research. So any entrepreneurs, anyone who wants to become an entrepreneur, first and foremost skill set you need to have is you need to understand the market first. So unless and until you do this, you will not be able to position yourself in the market in a better way. So that will be the first starting point, market research. Okay, so you can collect vital information. There are a lot of ways to do it. Okay, so many people do it. So that is not my topic today. So I'm not discuss on how to do market research and all, because that is not my topic, what I need to talk today. So first is market study. Second one in the step of standardization is define a standard range of products. Okay, so what are the different types of products which are available in the market? So you define those products, range of products. So range means it can be in terms of quantity, it can be in terms of price, it can be in terms of the consumer segments or whatever it is. So how you want, you do it. Okay. Then from the range, ask the designer to develop minimum variety of component to match the range. Okay, so then after arriving at the range and looking at what are the needs and requirements which are there, there will be designers. So every company will have a designer. So in small company, you will only be the designer. So you are the better person because you know about the product. So you yourself can be designer or take the expert's help or whatever it is, depending upon your investment pattern, you can decide. So you are the better designer for this and develop the minimum variety of component, okay, to match the range. So that's the first thing. So first is do the market survey, then define the standard range. And once the range is decided, then you think of working on with an expert or with among yourself. Try to identify the various ranges or designs which you can do for the range which you have arrived at. So that defines your product specifications. So there are 5 P's which are very important when I talk about standardization. The first P is product, the second P is price, the third P is place, the fourth is promotion, and the fifth is people and process. So when I talk about standardization, I need to see that all these 5 P's have been given proper consideration in my approach of fixing the standards. Because each of these P's are very important in decision making. Okay, let us take the first P, product. So why this product is a very important? Because product tells you about what the stock cost reduction should be, or what the consumer mobility should be, or how to improve planning and control, create worldwide uniformity, synergetic effects. See, these are the things which I need to bear it in mind when I'm talking from the product person. And my standards, what I define to my product should have all these qualities in it. Okay, so it should create worldwide uniformity. So we need to bear this in mind. Okay, so when I'm doing an ethical business, right, I need to make sure that the business what I run should cater to the global requirement and needs. Today, that has become a very important and a significant thing. So anything and everything what you manufacture will not be called as standardized product across globe, because globe has established its own standards, keeping in mind, okay, the various factors like climate, environmental factors and all those things, which has become very important and relevant today. So whatever the product you want to manufacture or whatever product you want to enter into business, you need to make sure that the standardization process happens on that particular product, keeping in mind the various factors. Okay, consumer mobility and all those things. So those are all gnan, okay, which will be there in your principles of management book, which you can take out and read. So we don't get into too much of this because this is one part of your commodity market. So don't get too much of your principal management studies and all those things. Just understand in basic concepts. That's it. Okay, don't get into too much of this each concept. Why you don't start explaining each and every concept what is there in standardization. Our approach is very clear. What is the standardization? Why it is helpful in quality, and why quality is important in commodity market. So we are focusing only on that approach. The second P is about price. So again, we need to ensure that when we tell standardization, we are giving better price to the consumers, and we are having control over the price. So better control of price and better price uniformity across the market is what standardization in price means. Standardization in place means transfer of experience and efficiency, economies of scale of operations and all those things. Standardization of promotions means psychological meaning, consumer mobility and consistent with customers, synergetic effects. So these are the very important things which are there when I talk about standardization of promotion. And of course, standardization of people and process means it's more of intrinsic to the organization, internal to the organization. So achieve a strong corporate identity. So that's a very important word they have used when we talk about the place and people. Okay, people and process which are involved in the organization. So one important thing is about achieving a strong corporate identity. So that's how your company will be different from foreign companies. So how I want to make myself a company which is different from others. So that can be done when you have a separate corporate identity. So that identity you need to create for your product. So that can be done only if you have a standardization in your approach. Okay, that's what it means here. So don't get into too much of this internal things. Okay. So now let us talk something about certification marks, various certification marks which are there in the market. So I think most of you might have come across AgMark, AGMARK, AgMark. So AgMark, Nandini, Ghee, and all those things they say. So this is a universal mark which you can see on all agriculture products. So all agriculture products, okay, AgMark is important. This hallmark is there. So all hallmark. This mark is on purity of gold jewelries. So they call it as BIS. Okay, Bureau of Industrial Standard. It means BIS means Bureau of Industrial Standard. Hallmark, HALLMARK. This is for checking the purity of gold. Okay, in that jewelry. Then you have FPO marks is there. It's a mandatory marks for all processed food products in India. So if you are a company, you are entering into food manufacturing or processing of fruit products, then you need to take FPO marks. Very important. India Organic is one more mark which is there. It is a certification mark for organically farmed food products. So any organically farmed food products, we will have this India Organic marks. Then ISI mark is there for industrial products that certify that product comforts to set of standards laid by the BISMA. ISI is Indian Statistical Institute marks. ISI marks. Toxicity labels, as the name itself tells, is a mandatory on the container of pesticides sold in India. Identify the level of toxicity of the pesticide in 4 levels. So what is the level of toxicity which is there in that particular product? It should be disclosed, and this mark is very important, especially when you are dealing with manufacturing of pesticides or something like that. Vegetarian mark is there. I think most of you might have seen that green mark what they are using, right? So there will be a box square. In that they will put green or red mark. So if they put green, it is a vegetarian product, and if they put red, that means it contains some non-vegetarian things. So this is a very important thing for packed foods. Okay, packed food products. This mark is very important. So these are various certification marks which are there. Apart from that, we have this food safety standard assurance license and all those things. So that license also needs to be taken. Okay, many times they take this license, especially in order to meet the requirement and standards. One second, just hold on. 1 second. Yes. I'll continue the class next time, okay? Because there is some urgent work which I'm doing now, okay? So I'll continue the class next time. Thank you.